So now we have confirmed where Paimon has came from when she came down to Tibet and things like that. But now the question still remains, what was Paimon created for originally? And what is Paimon's relationship with Celestia besides being a creation of Celestia? What is her relationship with the... They're not shadows, what are they? The four shades. What is her relationship with the four shades and the heavenly principles? And what exactly is Paimon? Today, I wanted to talk about a couple of theories that I've seen online. Some things which I believe, more some not really. But I want to talk about my main three that I have seen that I thought were pretty interesting. I don't have one that I fully agree on with this because of the fact that it's just the possibilities are kind of endless, as well as the fact that I just don't fully know which one would be more true than the other. But oh man, they didn't like, oh god. Okay, anyway. I don't know which one could be true because honestly all of them do seem like pretty good theories, besides maybe like select few that kind of had a few flaws. But besides that, I don't really know what her purpose could have been. So first, let's go back to around the end of the Archon quest, whenever Piero reveals that Paimon is actually something that descended from Celestia, which to me is crazy because she is not marked as a descender of any sort. So the facts that we know about Paimon is, for one, she descended from Celestia, a creation of Celestia, in response to some sort of technology that Piero at the time was using. She was in an infant-like state whenever she was first brought down into Teyvat, which did not impress the king that Piero attempted to show her to. We also know that Paimon isn't actually marked as a descender in the Irminsul, which is actually pretty weird considering she is something that descended from Celestia. But technically, if she did descend from Celestia, that would make her, I believe, like the third descender, which actually would not be her. No, maybe third. Would it be? Maybe fourth descender, which would be in place of us. And we would be the fifth descender. So what I'm thinking is she was created by Celestia, but she is made for specifically Teyvat and belongs to Teyvat. So how do I get up here? Ooh, storage device. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. But I do think she was something that was made for Teyvat specifically, but what she was made for, I do not know. And another thing is, whenever she came down, she was in an infant-like state, so how did she get all of her knowledge if that's all Piero remembers? When did her and Piero become separated? And how did she end up in the ocean? Now, the first theory I want to go over today, which actually kind of makes sense, but also kind of doesn't, and is a little bit mean towards Paimon, but some people theorize that Paimon was a failed creation of some form. One person theorized that she might be like a failed shade of some sort, since it seemed like Renova seemed to have some sort of random disdain toward her, but I think Renova just has a disdain towards literally everybody. She doesn't like Asmodee, she doesn't really like anybody in Teyvat, and she doesn't really like Paimon either. She doesn't like Conrian. She just does not like anybody. She just has a disdain towards anything and anyone. I actually branched off of this theory. I don't think she's a failed creation because considering, you know, Celestia had her and she was pulled down from Celestia by some technology, so I don't think she was a failed creation at all. No one knows how long she had been created, or again, what she was created for, but I had a theory that I branched off of this of what if she was an incomplete creation? Because again, to us, she acts as a very knowledgeable guide, bringing us around Teyvat and telling us all kinds of facts that she knows. And considering her infant-like state when she was brought down, I wonder if while she was being created, Celestia was interrupted by the Conrian technology, and somehow that Conrian technology took Paimon and pulled her down while she was in the middle of being created, so she wasn't fully able to be formed and shaped into whatever Celestia was trying to create. And whenever they say a creation of Celestia, I don't know if they mean a creation that was made by the Heavenly Principles, or if somehow Celestia, the place itself, was like creating this being of some sort. For me, I kind of lean more towards my theory of her being an incomplete creation rather than just being some form of failed creation thing that was just thrown away because she descended in response to the technology. She didn't, just fall down off of she didn't just fall down off of Celestia like they threw her away or anything. Like when it says descending, I just kind of see her being pulled down from the sky, and you just see this like a little tiny thing coming down from the sky, and then like you just get a closer look, and it's literally Paimon. And I just kind of imagined her in like a sleeping state of some sort. I'm not sure. We'll definitely get more information as time goes on, but I'm leaning more towards her being incomplete rather than a failed experiment or a failed creation. Now, something that does kind of also branch off of this theory is if you take a look at her crown and we go to our artifacts, there's, one, two, three. There's 5 different artifacts that you can have. If I look quickly right here, we have the flower, the feather, the sands, the goblet, and the crown. Now we have the shade of time, shade of death, and whatever. Basically, we have like these 4 shades right here. Sorry, I'm trying to like think of how this theory worded it. Like these are all the 4 shades that we currently know of. This is kind of supposed to be the shade of reason, which is also basically the Heavenly Principles, but some people, which obviously is already Phanes, I believe is how you say her name, or Phanes, but some people theorize that because of Paimon's crown, she might be something that was created by Phanes, like I said, could have been Phanes herself and not Celestia, or the Heavenly Principles herself. But also some people theorize that she might be like a part of Phanes because or Phanes, because also people know, like pointed out throughout Genshin, there's this theme of characters being split into several different beings. For a recent example, the Eye of Graye was missing several parts of him and his power. Zabai was also split off into multiple parts when she was killed. Fossilors also technically split herself in half with Farina. And it's a consistent theme throughout the game where some characters kind of split themselves off for their own gain or for whatever reason, or they get split off because of whatever, However, I think it's less likely that the Heavenly Principles split themselves off because even though they are currently dormant, Paimon was alive and a thing during the Heavenly Principles active time, whenever, before the destruction of Conria and the Cataclysm and everything. Paimon was there for all of that, so I don't think she could definitely be any part of I doubt she's a part of the Heavenly Principles, or like a piece of them, because I don't think they would split themselves off at the time before they went dormant, because they went dormant after the Cataclysm and haven't awoken since. But I mean, there is a possibility that she could have just been split off and before the Cataclysm, but considering she is the reason why the Cataclysm happened, I don't think she would have been split off with Paimon at the time. I mean, there is a small possibility that she could have done it before going dormant, but I highly doubt this. But people theorize this is the reason why the Heavenly Principles has been inactive, but it just does not make sense for me because the Heavenly Principles was active at the time when Paimon was created and Paimon was found out to be a thing. One thing that I can say 1000% sure though is Paimon was definitely created for Teyvat, because of course descenders are people from outside of Teyvat, people that weren't, because like the shades, they aren't really considered descenders, they are they belong to Teyvat, just like how our twin brother our twin abyss sibling belongs to Teyvat somehow. They aren't considered a descender. Paimon is not considered a descender, so it seems like she belongs to Teyvat in some shape, way, or form, but she was created and she is a part of Celestia despite her not having their powers. Now, of course, the only thing Paimon is pretty much known for is for being a guide and being somewhat pretty knowledgeable about Teyvat, but I mean, there are still things that she doesn't fully know. But part of me wonders why she was created with no celestial powers. If she was supposed to ever get celestial powers, like I said, maybe she was a incomplete creation that was disrupted by the Conrian technology and was somehow pulled down from Celestia. I still firmly believe that despite how her not having was despite the fact that she never has had any celestial authority or power, I wonder if there will ever be a point where she kind of unlocks that ability for herself. Maybe there's some sort of like criteria that she has to meet, and then all of a sudden, poof, she has celestial authority. Now, actually, with my theory of her being an incomplete creation, I kind of wonder if she was created simply to spy on Conria, because Conria was hidden away from the eyes of all the Shades and the Archons and the Heavenly Principles. So I wonder if she was created by Celestia to spy on Conria, to see what they were doing and to kind of make sure that they didn't get to a point that they got to. But because she was pulled down so early by Conrian technology, she wasn't really able to function as she should have, because again, interrupted creation. That she was an incomplete, and that, you know, she's incomplete, you know, she was in an infant-like stage, she didn't have any like knowledge, she couldn't speak or anything like that. But then over time, you know, she learned stuff later on, but I kind of wonder if she was originally made to spy on Conria. Anyway, I think I've talked about everything I want to talk about with Paimon and what her purpose could have been, and just other theories like that within about Paimon, because I think her lore is very interesting so far. Even though we still don't know a whole lot about her, I still think it's interesting. All the things we learned so far about her being a creation from Celestia and descending from Conrian by Conrian technology. It's just crazy to me because I also kind of wonder what could have made her respond to the Conrian technology and cause her to descend, and not something else responding to it. Like one of the Shades, maybe, or just the Heavenly Principles themselves. But it's crazy. Anyway guys, that's all for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.